Welcome back to Gear and Beer. Today we have Dallas, Texas native and now Nashville resident, Mr. Lance Lopez. Lance, cheers me.
Right on, brother.
Toast me, as Mr. Letary would say.
There you go. Toast it. Toast it up. Cheers. Arnold Palmer going on here.
As I sip superfluously into the microphone. You were here last week with Ford, and
right.
We had you over there, and that wasn't good enough. So, by God, we brought you back this time.
Pulled me back in the big boy chair.
Yeah, now you get to sit over here in front of these hot lights.
Right on.
Looks like our co-host split the area.
That's right. That's right.
That's okay. Lyndon over here, Lyndon McCarty.
All right, Lyndon.
Twisting and tweaking, as Mike Reiner would say.
Fantastic. Good old Mike Reiner.
Shout out to the old Gray Wolf, who will most certainly not ever listen to this podcast. Or maybe he would. He's a professional musician these days.
That's right.
He does a podcast too. Was it My Darkest Hour?
Yeah.
It was called something else. He went through a couple of iterations of it, and now he's doing something else. Big fan, anyway.
Right.
Petty Theft.
Petty Theft was great.
What a great band name,
Absolutely.
Concept, idea, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, they were playing.
Did you ever see Petty Theft?
No.
It's a Tom Petty tribute band.
Mike Reiner.
I kind of figured.
Run by Mike Reiner, formerly of The Ticket, who created The Ticket in
Right.
Dallas.
Yeah.
Which I still listen to this day on the Sports Day app, which sucks.
Right. Does it? Wow.
It's better than it was, but it sucks.
Okay.
It used to have a lot of problems. You know what? Actually, I'm going to take that. I'm going to scale that back a little bit. It's not nearly as bad as it once was.
Okay.
Sponsor us, Sports Day.
There you go.
Yeah, Sports Day app.
There you go.
Let's advertise.
Like it.
On the little tick.
There you go. There you go.
Anyway, so yeah, we had some dinner. We did a little jamming.
Absolutely.
Well, what we were just talking about before we started rolling, I've already forgotten, but it was something that I wanted to hear the end of the thought. Slipknot? Corn, that's right.
Corn. Yeah.
We started at Slipknot and went to Corn.
I don't know how we had.
We were talking about comparing Creed and Corn.
Creed and Corn, because I was trying to get the
Yes.
all the
syllables.
the syllables of the of the rock band of the modern era. The corn,
children thereof.
Right.
I'm afraid that dog thing is. I'm going to hear that when I'm editing.
I hear it right now.
Yeah, I do too. I don't care.
All right.
Whatever. If there's a dog in this room, he's chewing on something. It's
Luca
fine.
is snacking.
He's
occupied.
He was laying at our feet. He isn't barking,
right.
And I didn't leave him downstairs by himself. So we're giving the dog a test run in the podcast.
There you go.
Since security is not home.
There you go. Luca, he seems to be very happy with his chew toy. That's amazing.
He's got a little bandana on.
Yep. That's great.
And enough about the dog that no one can see in this frame.
That's right.
So Lance Lopez.
There we go.
Born in Dallas?
I was actually born in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
So I was born in Shreveport. My family kind of came out of Shreveport, and we moved to Dallas when I was 12. So we moved over in late 80s, like 89, 90. We moved over. And it was quite a culture shock, man, because I lived basically like that area of Shreveport, West Shreveport, was like East Texas.
Yeah.
So, big pine trees, the woods, the lakes, the swamps. We still had swamps and shit over there. So going to Dallas, I moved to North Dallas. I moved to like Royal and Abrams.
Yeah.
And like 635 and that whole 635 and Abrams and that whole area was my stomping ground. So it was quite like it's just nothing but concrete.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was
very urban right there.
Man, so it was
that's right next to the border of Garland.
Right.
Where I'm from.
Yeah, we were right there. You just go a little bit further down. The first place we lived was Forest and Abrams. So, literally, you went down Forest, bam, you were in Garland.
Yep. Old Forest Lane. Shout out to Forest Lane.
Forest Lane, buddy. Yeah, man. So, yeah, and my first band was in Richardson, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Arapahoe in 75, across from the Richardson Public Library.
Yeah.
All those houses are gone now. We were there a couple of weeks ago or last month or whenever we were. We played at the Guitar Sanctuary in McKinney.
Yeah.
And I drove.
Shane's and George's joint. Shane's still there?
I'm not sure. I just mainly was talking to Brian Metter
Okay. Is Fuller still on the joint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shane Frame wasn't there?
I didn't see Shane.
You know Shane?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, many years. Yeah.
He may not be there anymore. I don't know.
I don't know either. I didn't.
I haven't been there in a long time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah.
That's cool that they have people through there playing. I know that Mark's played there and Andy's played there.
Absolutely.
And those kind of dudes. And
Yeah. But it's
you
just,
guys played there?
it's like Andy's backyard.
Yeah, for sure.
For him and a lot of the other guys. Denton's right there. So
Right.
that makes sense for everybody else. But yeah. Anyway, we played up there, and I drove the band guys because I'm working with guys from here now, and drove them all through. It was really cool to take them around and show them,
Sure.
where I grew up, but all those houses are, they're all flattened now that were across from the library. But yeah, my first band was there in 1990.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't think I had a band in 90, but I had one in 94.
Yeah. There you go.
I played that amp in it. It was 2 guitar players and a drummer.
That's awesome.
It was fun.
Yeah, Hound Dog Taylor style.
Man,
that's cool.
I have a T-shirt from that band. It was called Night Vision.
Wow.
And we did a very shitty rip-off of the Metallica logo. It's like it's not
awesome.
splayed out like that. It's just like the one side of the N was long and the other side of the N was big. It was,
gotcha.
It was stupid, but
That's awesome.
Night Vision, indeed.
Night Vision. I think our band was called The Pact. That was our band, and we butchered Rush covers. It was like
yes.
We'd stay up all night and learn the parts, and fight over. No, it's this, man.
Not playing it right.
You're not playing it right, dude. And we'd
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right? Yeah. Moving Pictures and 2112 and.
Man, Moving Pictures is both underrated and still rated really highly, in my opinion. That's usually that's their most heralded work, I think.
Right.
A lot of times people like that one and
2112.
Yeah, and 2112.
Right.
That's it's one of those two always.
Right.
And I love Moving Pictures a lot more than I love 2112.
Mm-hmm.
But neither one of them is in my top 3 favorite Rush records.
Right. Wow.
Which is crazy, right?
Well, I mean,
Let's do it right now. Top 3 favorite Rush
Top
records.
3.
There's only like 27 to choose from.
Right.
It's not like they've got, it's not like we're talking about, I don't know, band with 5 records.
Exactly.
This is a band with 27 studio original albums.
Right. I mean, I feel like Fly By Night gets overlooked a lot. I mean, Fly By Night is a great record. I loved the early period, and I loved Moving Pictures. I feel like Farewell to Kings gets overlooked quite a bit.
Farewell to Kings is in my top 3.
All those different movements in those. And then it becomes that hard toss up. I would have to say Fly By Night. The first record as well. I think the first record definitely had so much elements of blues, and it was a blues rock power trio record.
Totally.
So I really identify with that first record.
That one and Caress of Steel kind of had both. They started stretching a little bit in Caress of Steel. Wasn't Caress of Steel the second record?
I think Fly By Night was the second record.
Okay, that's right.
I think Caress of Steel came after
that was
Fly
third
By
record.
Night. Right.
And the first one was the one that just said Rush. And that was with John Rutsey, right?
John Rutsey, the original drummer. That's correct. Yeah. And I've heard recordings. There's some. I think it's the ABC recordings. I think they did for the ABC network when Neil Peart just joined the band, and they were playing all the first record with Neil Peart. It's pretty incredible. So you've got
that's
Neil.
Cool.
I
I think they touched on that in one of the docs that I've seen, but I need to if that whole thing's out there, I need to hear.
It's on YouTube. I have to try to find it and send it to you. It's pretty incredible. The bass player I have working with me now, Ryan Brewington, he's from Gallatin, and he's like 25 years old.
Oh, right.
And he eats, breathes, and sleeps it. Like all the power trio band, Mountain, Cream, Rush, all the heavy rock, kind of in our wheelhouse. He turned me on to it. So it was pretty cool.
That's dope
to hear it, because I'm just such a big fan of that, and I always thought, man, I'd love to hear Neil Peart playing that stuff. And he goes, well, it does exist. So it's pretty incredible.
I think that in my top 3, the most unpopular one, I mean, I would say Farewell.
Yeah.
Hemispheres.
Oh wow, yeah.
And Counterparts is my
Counterparts
was my introduction to Rush. That was the first Rush record that I ever had.
Yeah, wow. How could we forget about Counterparts?
It's a killer record. The guitar playing is amazing. All the musicianship and the songwriting is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't really care about Neil Peart's lyrics.
Right.
You know, there's plenty else to respect him about.
Right.
I don't mean to be disrespectful.
No,
I just
I know what you
don't
mean.
care. I don't care.
Right.
But the Counterparts record got some great riffs, man. Alex Lyson's tone and choices are just so uniquely Alex Lyson, you know?
Yes.
It's like one of those dudes that just it's like Billy Gibbons, like we were talking about with Rob on the podcast I released today. It's like Billy Gibbons picks up any guitar and any amp on any settings and sounds like Billy Gibbons. Alex Lifeson's the same way.
Right, exactly.
They're two obviously very different sounds, but they're just inherently themselves at all times, and that's admirable in my opinion.
Absolutely. And to hear the band progress like it did, and I feel like Moving Pictures, I mean, I feel like it stands up sonically to anything, you know, still to this day that, you know, when you listen to Tom Sawyer, you listen to the production of that, you know, in, what was that, 1980, 81, and it's still so sonically fresh and modern. I mean, it's relevant today. I mean, I feel like it could come out now. So I think
sound really good.
All the records that I loved, you know, were kind of the 70s. You know, that's what I was talking about, that poster. As a kid, I was into the Fly By Night and the 2112 and the Farewell to Kings. And we had Moving Pictures, and you know, Moving Pictures had no pictures of the band on it.
So with this band you're talking about, like you're telling me all these things that you're into. What kind of guitar were you playing?
I had in the very beginning, I had a SG was the first kind. I had a harmony, kind of a harmony guitar was the first electric. Then I moved on to my uncle had an SG. So I had that at a Princeton, little silver face Princeton, and I was.
You still have that Princeton?
I don't have the Princeton, and I was made fun of so viciously for that Princeton amp back in the era of the Crate, and the PV Bandit.
If you didn't have a Blue Voodoo, you ain't shit.
And dude, and I had like this beautiful silver face, you know, early 70s Princeton that was just, you turned it on 10 and it was just with the SG, it was killing.
Never spent any time with the Princeton until recently. Do you know a guitar player from Fort Worth from Austin named Bryce Clark?
No, I don't think I know.
He plays with Aaron Watson. And I played with an artist a few weeks ago. We opened for them, and something happened with our back line, and it did not show up. So I borrowed his 70, I think it was a 78 Silverface.
Wow.
What a great amp, man. Killer. It sounded great. And then my dad recently decided to get himself a Princeton because all the other amps were too loud.
Right.
So he found a 74 Princeton, and I did a whole fusion gig on that thing and his 63 SG Junior.
Wow.
With the 1P90.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What an interesting sound that was.
I bet that was killer.
Wes Stevenson, it was with his band, and he kept saying, "Man, that guitar sounds like a synthesizer."
Sound like something Wes Stevenson would say.
That's what he said. And then he just kept saying it over and over again in the West way.
That's amazing. I love Wes Stevenson so much, too. Man.
There's a picture of him hanging in my hallway.
That's incredible. That's one of the greatest bass players in the world right there, man.
I should put him over there next to Coltrane and Wu-Tang.
You should. You definitely should.
Oh, hello.
He's in there. He's definitely in there.
Welcome to the shot, Luca.
Is he in the shot?
Yeah.
Luca.
Just a little bit.
Luca, that's incredible. But yeah, the Princeton is in.
Good boy.
I mean, those were killer. Those are killer amps, man. I mean, you know, now the blackface are all the rage. You know, it's like I never saw that coming. You know, I never saw the Princeton amps just take off. Because like I said, in the 80s, I had a Princeton and kids made fun of me for it. They're like, your old Fender amp. They had the built-in chorus and distortion and flangers.
Yeah.
They didn't know how cool it was yet.
You know, and it was like, and then I got a Music Man RD112, which was a kick-ass little Music Man.
It's like 50 watts, right?
Yeah, it was like a 112 amp.
My buddy CJ has one of those. Those
are
loud.
cool amps, man.
It's loud. It's loud, and the little orange, the Boss pedal just said distortion on it. The DS1, the old orange.
Oh yeah,
the old orange distortion, and that was the rig for, you know, the early first band stuff.
Right,
you know?
right.
I had that, and I got a Japanese Squire Strat.
Oh, dude, those are, I mean.
84, I think a 1984 Japanese Squire, and it was killer.
You still have that?
I don't.
Ah, shit. Well, I mean, and why would you hold on to that?
Yeah.
At the time, you're like, this is a Squire. I want a real or whatever. That's what I thought.
Right.
I didn't have a cool Squire. I do now. I have like a 94 Mexi Squire, which was, according to what I'm going to call research, which is not actually research and looking at things online to try to figure it out.
Right.
It is most likely American parts assembled in Baja.
Wow.
Apparently.
Wow.
So it's a great guitar. Get out of here.
Chew toy time.
Yeah, we'll get rid of him at a break. Lyndon got it.
So that's the like Mexicali basically.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's a great guitar. But it's from the era of the weird dimensions. So if you go to replace hardware, it's like
everything was offset.
Yeah, it's just like weird measurements.
I remember that.
I think like Glendale makes that size now, or but there's not a lot of aftermarket like hardware because I haven't actually done it, but I would like to replace the entire the bridge and trim assembly, and just get a more resonant like tone metal in there as opposed to that was it particle board of metal that they put in there in those days. Even still, it's probably better than what they're putting in the super cheap ones today. But at the same time, I don't know anything because Jack Pearson's got like 6 bullet strats and he smokes everybody.
I mean, this is incredible. It was Mark Pollock at Charlie's Guitar Shop when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Charlie's in Dallas.
Yeah. It
was Mark Pollock that educated me on the show. I will never forget because my mom used to take me to Charlie's. This was before Steve, like a month or so before Stevie Ray Vaughan passed away.
Oh, okay.
So I found out that's where he would hang out. So my mom would drive me up there every day and drop me off, and I'd wait and talk about Jimi Hendrix with Mark and just pestered the shit out of those guys. And
I'm sure they were cool with it.
They were real cool. And I would sit over there. And that during that time is when, Mark took the time and educated me and showed me how the saddles were offset. And it was just mind blowing. I was like, you just can't switch these parts. I was just thinking, you looking at it visually, you think I can just swap this with that. And it was like, no, back then it was like, no, all the new modern stuff was all. I'll just never forget one afternoon him showing me all that and going through all the Fender guitars and teaching me that. So it was a really cool place to hang out with Charlie's Guitar Shop back then, man.
Are you back to playing at Princeton now?
No, I don't. We've got a couple. Ford's got a couple over there at the house that
Ford's got a bunch of fun.
Ford's
toys.
got a bunch of cool ones. So, and he's got the amp that I had as a kid, which is crazy.
Of course he does.
And so, it's been really cool. and I've seen a lot of those lately, and I just think, how revered they are now. And I just think back on those days going, wow,
What are you taking?
So I started working with Don Ritter.
Okay.
In Dallas.
I think we briefly talked about that last week.
Yeah. So I just started working with, I've known Don for years.
Same. Do the guitar show, presumably.
Always the guitar show on the Cat 5 stage, and they would pull out all the stuff, and I would just, plug in, turn everything all the way up, and just go for it. And so, oddly enough, he had a Bassman that he built, and I was running it as a favor back to Dallas. I think he had it up at Carter's. And I took a bunch of Dallas. We had built an amp for Brad Paisley and a couple other people. And I had to take a bunch of them back as a favor because we were going down there to play. And so I gathered up all these amplifiers, and in the pile of them was this Bassman. And I went, well, what the hell is that? And apparently it was
410 combo?
Yeah, it was a Bassman with a reverb, with an old like 63 Brown reverb tank installed into the Bassman with like an effects loop and two of the inputs.
That's some Don Ritter shit right there.
And it had two Eminence Legends and two Celestion V10s in it. And I said, let me pull this up and check this out. And it was killer. So he had it in Carter's. They had it in Carter's for a while, and it didn't sell. So, he was like, take it, play it, and take it out and do something with it. So we're working on a Marshall style amp right now. He's calling the Dean, I think. And it's like a JTM 45 in one side and like a more of a JMP-ish type on another channel. And it's two separate inputs that do two separate things. But it's running 5881 tubes, not EL34. So you get a little bit more of the robust, kind of sparkly, more together.
Yeah, okay.
You know, not so grindy, fizzy kind of thing with the EL34s do. So it's got some cool stuff. And then I got Bogner Helios 100 that I worked on with Reinhold Bogner, which is just a freaking Marshall that's totally modded that is usable in a small place.
Oh, okay.
You know, that's kind of the key. That was always the key for me is how can we get a Marshall tone? Which you never do push the air and you never get to that level and that feedback and sustain that you get from
physically vibrating the instrument with the cabinet.
When you can stand in front of a wall of 412s and lean back on the sound and it holds you up, it's like that never is replicated. But it's
that's quite a visceral image you just painted there.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, we were loud.
Man, the first time I ever heard a Plexi, Boo Massey and I were at a Guitar Center in Arlington, and we walked into the high-end room.
Platinum room.
Yeah, and there was a 68 super bass in there, 100 watts. And Boo just started turning it up, and at one point it was so loud that I was I was yelling at Billy, who was standing next to me. You know, I was yelling, "This sounds so good!" And I couldn't hear or even feel myself yelling. I was yelling.
Right.
It was a very weird feeling.
Yeah.
It was also just so loud.
Marshall power. Yeah, it's like a jet engine.
That room was not as big as this room.
Oh yeah.
So there was nowhere for it to go. It was just blasting around in my brain.
Wow.
Freaking Marshalls. And we did everything we could back in the day, man. We put the cabinets in a closet, turn them around backwards, put them up, point them at the seat. I mean, everything you could do till it was fine. Like, how do we put, attenuators? What do we do, to get that grind and that gain, without, just clearing the room and hurting people. Sure, including yourself.
And including ourselves. Or standing in front. Well, we didn't stand in front. We stood, away from it. So
point them at the drummer.
Yeah. You'd see just a line. You'd look out in the club and you'd see the line where the amp was. No people were sitting there. Like it'd be like a parting of the Red Sea. People would sit.
Some honest, natural feedback and cabinet direction.
Exactly.
So you're playing that basement. That's cool.
That's great. Yeah, working with Category 5 now. It's been awesome.
Do you carry a pedal board?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a little Gator board that I've got some pretty cool stuff on it right now. Doing the I've got a Detrik Effects wah pedal that was pretty interesting.
I'm not familiar with
this company called Detrik Effects. They're taking like a Vox reissue and just pulling the board and putting a vintage spec board with a tropical fish cap in it and doing the old wiring and a lot of guys I think are kind of doing that now. My buddy Wes Jeans is doing that with fuzz faces right now, where he's putting the germanium, the old school boards in them, and they kind of hand mod them to do to the vintage spec. That wah's great. Let's see what else is on there. I gotta
get a wah. My wah's broken. It just sits in my closet.
These are cool. It's called a 1969 Experience wah, and it's like they nailed it. I mean, it's to vintage spec, all the
how you spell it? Detrik, like Detriech?
I think Dietrick. Detrik.
Okay.
Yeah, Detrik Effects. And
are you making a note of that? Thank you.
And I think it's the I think they make a couple of them, but I think I've got the 1969 Experience. I think is what they call it.
Okay.
So it's just it's the real deal classic Vox wah wah. It's a really, really, really great one.
That's cool.
Let's see. I've got this funky little Mojo pedal that's made by this company called. It's a K2 clone. It's this little gold box. You see them every now and then. They come up on Reverb for $50 to $100 every now and then. And it's a little clon in a square box. That's just we've put it next to silver and gold ones, and we're like, wow, man, this hangs right with it.
Well, I don't want to share that with everybody, but I'll need you to show me what you're talking about later.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
We can tell them after I get one for that price.
Yeah. It's just hard to find them. Once they come up, they're gone. It's hard to find them. And then Ford turned me, he's got this, the Mr. Nobles himself. I've got, right now, I'm using this double Nobles. It's a Nobles with a boost on it. And it's rehoused in a little black box. And it's been really cool. And then I've also been going between that and the Open Road, the Visual Sound Open Road.
Okay.
Which is another sleeper overdrive pedal.
Rodriguez has a Visual Sound Overdrive on his board. I don't remember what it is. That's the only one that I'd heard.
It may be that one.
Hey, are you talking about the tone log for that wah pedal? Is it Detrik tone log 1967 Vox Clyde McCoy?
Maybe.
That's a really long name for
Yeah, I
one
know.
pedal.
I think it's
It's kind of all I could find.
I think it's the Detrik
Like DETRICK?
DIE maybe.
DIE?
TRICK.
Okay, we'll check that on the break.
Yeah, Detrik. Yeah, 1969 Experience, I think, was.
Okay.
Detrik Effects, FX, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really cool pedal.
Where are they based out of?
Man, I can't really remember.
Okay.
It's
I'll look it up and put up a link.
Yeah, they're building some killer wah-wah pedals right now. I mean, it's just vintage spec, real deal, you know, real stuff. It's really cool.
Well, I need to look into that because I need a good wah. I had a bunch of the different 90s iterations of the Crybaby.
Right.
And the one that I settled on that I liked the most and that I thought was closest to what I heard for a wah sound was that 95Q. Did you have the auto
535? Oh yeah.
No. Before that one. That's what they have now. This is like early 2000s. They had one called 95Q. And to my knowledge, it's the first time that they put the volume and the Q adjustment little tiny black knobs on there,
right,
as well as a red boost button.
Wow. No, I'm not. I don't remember that.
Man, I nursed that thing for a while.
Wow.
It just kept breaking. I didn't know nearly back then about how to take care of things properly.
Right.
Also, just being able to afford the proper cases and
right.
things to take care of your gear is very expensive.
Right.
And when you're 18, most of us don't have money at 18.
Right. And we don't even know that stuff exists either.
Yeah, and we don't know any better. You got to learn the hard way, which unfortunately costs you some gear and some heartbreak.
Right, exactly.
That's just the way it goes.
Sometimes. Yeah. yeah.
Gear and beer.
I mentioned the guitar show earlier, the Dallas International Guitar Festival, which is where you and I met however many years ago.
Many years ago.
How long have you been playing at that thing? Because I've been playing there since I've been playing there for a solid 25 years.
Yeah, at least.
I've missed a couple of years.
I did too.
But
we were about on the same schedule. I remember the first time I had to miss was I was touring very heavily, and in 2010 I was signed to Sony, and they scheduled this big tour, and I had to go to Jimmy Wallace. And for those of you listening that don't know the Jimmy we're talking about,
Jimmy Wallace, the guy that runs the guitar show and owns the guitar show.
And so I had to go to Jimmy, and Jimmy was so pissed at me because it was like, you have to be here. You know, there was no. It's like the mafia. Like once you're in, there's no getting out.
Got to get beat out.
Yeah, and oddly enough, a volcano erupted in Iceland. I don't know if you remember this or not, but a volcano. This was like 2010, erupted and stopped all overseas flights. Like nobody could fly overseas. So I don't
remember that at all.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I think I was able to make the. I was able to make the All-Star Jam, and then they opened up the flights the next day, and we flew out, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
So I did come and play the All-Star Jam, but didn't have a scheduled performance. And then, so it just, man, the guitar show was a special time of year in Dallas. It was
I've never understood why he wants to have it in May and outside. It's like, bro, have you ever been outside in Dallas in May? It sucks.
Right.
Every now and then you catch a break.
Well, I feel like in the late 90s and early 2000s, he was doing it in March, and it rained all the time. So there in the late 90s for a period, I remember playing. Ernie Ball used to bring this little side stage.
That truck?
Remember that thing?
Yeah.
That little stage that would fold out, the Local Heroes
Played
stage.
it several times.
Yeah, and I remember playing on that thing in just a monsoon and still playing the gig, and it being like torrential tornado weather, you know. and we were outside playing in that shit. It's like, wow.
The last time I played on that stage, Mongo had a heart attack.
Holy shit. On stage?
He didn't know what it was.
Oh, my God.
He was like, oh, Bubba, I'm dehydrated or whatever.
Oh,
and so he gets off stage. And
I remember that. I remember when Mongo got sick.
He's literally drinking water out of a cooler. You can't even make this shit up. Anybody who doesn't know Mongo, who is probably a lot of you, Mongo's about 6'4", 340.
Big boy.
Just a beast of a man. And he literally is picked up a cooler and is just like drinking the melted ice out of it because he thinks he's dehydrated. And he's drinking Gatorade, and he's sitting there and he feels bad. His girl at the time, he always called her Bubette. He said, "Oh, Bubette, you want to take me to the hospital? But I'm hungry. Let's all go to Whataburger."
Oh my God!
That sounds like Mongo.
He rides
middle of a heart attack.
He's riding in the bed of his truck, laying in the bed of his truck.
I've ever heard.
He's laying in the bed of his truck. She drives it. It's like a 30-something Ford truck.
That's amazing.
He's laying in the bed of it, and she drives to the Whataburger over off of Stemmons.
Wow.
And he eats a Whataburger laying in the back of that truck, and then she takes him to the hospital, and they're like, yeah, you had a heart attack.
Wow.
And then you stopped at Whataburger before you came to the hospital.
That's incredible. Holy cow.
That is real shit, bro.
It doesn't get more Texas than that shit.
That's
right
amazing.
there.
And we were all like, what are you doing? Go to the hospital.
Having a heart attack playing the Dallas Guitar Show and stopping at Whataburger on the way to the ER.
Oh,
I had
man.
that was the original outfit that we had, and I was not the singer in that, and I had to like finish singing.
Was that Hillbilly Orchestra?
Yeah, I had to finish doing the gig.
I think we found our promo clip for the week.
There you go.
Which is what?
That story.
Oh, fair enough.
My God.
That's a good idea.
Mongo, I love Mongo, man. I'm so glad
He can't be doing good. He wasn't doing good the last few times I saw him.
I've been hearing that, and I remember when that happened, and I know he took a while to recover, and
the dude has not, to my knowledge, ever taken care of himself.
Yeah.
So that's, you reap what you sow a little bit. It ain't like he didn't have all the help that.
Yeah.
But I've seen people go out of their way for that dude more than I've ever seen anyone go out of their way for anybody.
Right.
It's crazy. He's a captivating and like a very lovable dude.
Charismatic guy, man.
Very charismatic.
Yeah. I love Mongo, man. I'd see Mongo in the craziest places, and especially during the Pantera days, of course, it was always a part of that. But man, I think back to all the years of knowing Mongo, man, and just still deep down inside, man, what a great dude, man. Mongo just always had a good time with Mongo.
He sure did. Club Mongo.
Mongo.
Man, one time we were It's a great Mongo story. One time we were playing in Belize. We're on the island of San Pedro.
Oh, shit.
We did 2 weeks-long stints out there at Fido's in the 2000s.
Right.
And so, anyway, we either are playing later or we have the day off, and we're just like sitting on the beach. I think we had eaten lunch, and we're just like sitting there drinking drinks or something.
Right.
And a couple of boats go by, and they've kind of passed out of like right in front of us, but the wake is still there.
Right.
And
so like speedboats going by, or they were like yachts?
No, I'm just saying they just like casually went by, but they left ripples in the
big wakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And Mongo's doing whatever, and he looks up and he's like, "Oh, look, Bubba, school of fish." and we're all like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Look at the bubbles in the water." And we're like, "No, that's those two boats that just went by." And he goes, "No, Bubba, ain't no boats out there."
Ain't no boats out there.
So for years now, me and the bass player and the drummer we grew up together.
Yeah, right.
We're always like, "No, Bubba, ain't no boats out there."
Ain't no boats out there. God.
Hey, look, school of fish.
Mongo.
Oh man, there's so many Mongo stories.
I know.
But so the guitar show, who were you using in your band in the guitar show?
Oh my God! Over those literally decades of playing.
Were you using your guys, or were you using like Night Train and like the The Guitar Show back
the stock back like Mike Gage,
and Aram
and
what's his name?
Whoever else? Yeah,
the other guy.
Yeah, the other guy. No, one of the most memorable ones was 2005 was with Buddy Miles and Tommy Shannon. A couple of years of those.
That's pretty good.
Early 2000, I think we did 2001 or 2005. We did a couple.
Did Buddy Miles sing Them Changes?
Oh, of course he did.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, of course he about 45-minute version of it too.
You said you lived with Buddy for a minute, right?
I did. Yeah, we lived in Fort Worth together. We sure did over there by TCU off of Byers. We call it the Byers House, and it was over off like Camp Hewlin and 30 kind of area, Camp Wisdom and 30 in Fort Worth. And there used to be a magazine over there called Performance Magazine. I guess it was like a Polestar type magazine that was.
Is Camp Wisdom in Fort Worth?
Yeah, Camp Wisdom. I'm sorry, not
Camp Bowie.
Camp Bowie, not Camp Wisdom. Is in South Dallas.
Yeah, that's like Oak
Redbird.
Cliff.
Yeah, Oak Cliff. I get it all. I'm sorry, I all mixed up there. Camp Bowie. Yeah, not Camp Wisdom. Camp Wisdom is in Duncanville.
Yeah.
Duncanville, Oak Cliff. Camp Bowie is Fort Worth. So it was like Camp Bowie.
Over by like the Ridgely and shit?
Yeah.
Or the other side of 30.
The other side of 30.
Copy. Like, TCU side.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. The Ridgely side.
Oh, okay.
The other side, yeah. Hewlin.
What a weird venue that was.
The Ridgely.
It was a cool venue, but whoever run it was running it.
Yeah.
Whoever run it. Whoever run it ain't did good.
That's all the Mongo stories are fucking coming back.
Yeah, no shit. Every time I played there was probably with Mongo.
Right. Hell yeah. Hillbilly Orchestra. The Ridgely. Wow.
I saw Scar Symmetry and Swallow the Sun there.
Right.
To a Swedish and a Finnish band.
Right. Yeah. They always had the heavy ones were over there, man. The heavy ones are at the Ridgely, burning it down.
Those bands needed a venue, man.
Yeah.
I just, Lyndon, I know this is, well, I don't, your battery's about to die. But did I send you the Car Bomb flyer with Between the Buried and Me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going.
The 29th?
29th of March in
I was asking
Birmingham.
you if, I think I replied asking
okay,
you
I just
how much
haven't
tickets
looked.
were.
I don't know, but I don't care. It's at a very.
If I'm free, I'm going.
It's a mid-level club size gig from what I can tell from the other rooms. So
that's awesome.
I mean, it's like
heavy shit.
Yeah, this
super heavy.
I'll show you some afterwards.
Okay.
Car Bomb is the shit.
Right,
dude.
I have to check them out.
Y'all keep going. I'll change this battery.
Yeah, right.
I have to check them out. Yeah, I'm not hip to that. I need to check that out.
Car Bomb is seriously killing.
Yeah.
Did you stop it already?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. In the future, and I thought of this too late, but in the future, let it die because finding the edit of the second video is hard as shit. But I can just line it up from the end. Yeah. So, and I'm gonna probably cut this or not. Who cares? I forgot what I was talking about. Car Bomb. Yeah, Car Bomb, great band. I'll link their album Meta. I think I've already linked it a couple of times because I really love it.
That's awesome.
I was really into metal in like late 2000s, early 2000 teens, and I still like it a lot. I don't like live in it like I kind of did then. When I first get into something, whether it's a record or a style of music, I tend to like live in it.
Go all, yeah, me too. I'm the same way.
And
what do you think about Electric Wizard?
I don't know what that is.
Electric Wizard was a big, heavy, doomy kind of Black Sabbath influenced and just very sludge and slow, big, doomy kind of. I saw them over in Germany.
Okay,
it was pretty interesting.
Electric
Wizard is an interesting band.
Is that 90s band?
They were, yeah. They were around. They came out like late 90s. Yeah, they're still around. They sometimes rarely play the States. I think they came through on a tour about 3-4 years ago. 3 years ago, I would say.
I'll be sure to link some Electric Wizard.
The Electric Wizard was all during that period when you were talking about that. I kind of was into some of those kind of more the stoner metal.
Yeah, sure.
Is what they call it. Yeah, stoner / doom metal. Doom.
It's like those two things mean very different things. Right. Stoner and doom. Those things are not alike.
No. I don't think so. No.
Stoners are typically pretty happy people, and not at all trying to doom someone. Maybe if it was like stoner / MF doom, rest in power.
right. Exactly.
So, have you played like other guitar shows, or is the Dallas Guitar Show the only one that's like doing?
I mean, the
stuff?
Dallas Guitar Show is really the only kind of music festival based guitar show. I mean, they would have a jam in Arlington every now and then over in the hotel
at the Vintage one.
Yeah,
the Vintage show supposedly.
They would have a jam over there, at night. And I played several of those back in the 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, those are the ones that really, they had one, there was the 4-state guitar show in Missouri recently that, a few years ago that tried to have, they had a venue attached to it in I think they were doing it in Springfield, Missouri. And, and they were trying to get a music festival going like Dallas, but Dallas was, always the music festival guitar show.
I never really thought about it. That was just kind of like off the top of my head question.
Did you go to the first Crossroads in Dallas?
Yeah, that's the only one I've ever been to.
Yeah,
but I definitely went, and me and my dad and I sat in the Cotton Bowl all day on that Saturday, and I saw all the all-star cast that ran out, that BB King ran out there, I think the coolest thing that I saw all day, though, was ZZ Top.
Right. That was the best. I was so bummed out that that Jeff Beck and Clapton were going to jam with ZZ Top that night. Their rigs were on stage. We were kind of backside stage. We had passes, and we were kind of back and forth and back there. And I'd been hanging with Gibbons a couple of days before, and
they run short on time.
It started raining. I don't know if you remember, but the rain came and shut it down. They had a big Doppler backstage. They were watching for tornadoes, and they had.
I don't remember.
Yeah, thunderstorms came in, and it rained and shut the show down. It was actually raining in the middle of ZZ Top set. Yeah, it was raining that night.
I don't remember that at all. Now, it's been 20 years ago.
Yeah. It was a long time ago, but it was such a drag because Jeff Beck's rig was up there and Clapton's rig, and that was going to be the finale. Was Jeff Beck and Clapton were going to come out and play with ZZ Top. And that was just like such. That was going to be dope. That was going to be the pinnacle moment of the entire situation, and the good old Texas thunderstorm shut it down.
Man, that's one thing I miss is those. I say that we just had a tornado come through here like 2 days ago.
Yeah, but that's what happened out there. Those big fat raindrops, that big Texas rain. It's
like somebody thumping you.
Exactly what happened out there. Those big raindrops started coming down. It was like, we know what that means.
Man, I can't believe I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to talk to my dad and see if he remembers.
If you watch the footage on the first Crossroads Festival, and
I believe you. I just can't believe that. I just don't have. I feel like I have a very vague recollection, but like nothing to stand on.
Right. You see Billy and Dusty's beards blowing sideways in the rain. It's like rain, literally raining sideways, and their beards are blowing. It was pretty. But they kept playing. I think Gibbons even said, "Hey, we're gonna keep playing in the rain," until they finally the lightning and they made them stop.
Yeah,
it was a drag, man.
I can't believe I don't recall that.
So yeah, it was going to be a pretty epic moment in history.
I think Steve Vai played on like Sunday morning, and we were running late, and I ended up missing that. I really wanted to see Steve Vai. I was never into like Satriani or like Yngwie really, but Steve Vai, always had a thing for Steve Vai.
Yeah,
he's definitely the most my style guitar player of those kinds of dudes. And I still respect what he's doing. I just, props to Joe Satriani for teaching Steve Vai when he was younger, and
a lot of other guitar players,
and Kirk Hammett and other guys. But I don't particularly care for his music past the Surfing with the Alien record.
Right. Which was a masterpiece, I think.
It was really cool. It was ahead of its time, but it opened the door to so much better stuff like most of Steve Vai's catalog.
Passion and Warfare.
Guys like Guthrie Govan.
Right.
And, you know, even guys like our buddy in podcast episode 3 guest, Tony Camponovo, who are like, Tony's thing's a little heavier than that.
Right.
But he's like, it's very guitar centric.
Right.
He's got more chops than any other dude that I know.
Wow.
And what Tony has on most of those other dudes is he's also like a bebop shredder.
Wow.
So he's got like
Jazz knowledge.
harmonic. He's got harmonic things on all the dudes.
Wow.
The other dudes doing that thing.
Yeah, he
That's
showed
awesome.
up to UNT when I did, or maybe the semester after that, and he came out just a complete fucking beast.
Wow.
Of a bebop player.
He was a shredder when he got there,
Yeah,
and then he
yeah.
got the jazz thing.
Became a bebop guy. That's amazing.
I'm not a bebop guy, but I will bullshit all day long.
Yeah. Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, when all that was happening, I was just so focused on kind of where I've always just felt at home, and that in that minor pentatonic world, just drawn to the blues, just in that blues world, and that's why I loved all the guys like Angus Young. You know, guys that I could identify with, and I loved all the playing. I mean, I saw Van Halen. I was actually at Sammy Hagar's very first gig with Van Halen.
Oh,
I saw Sammy. It was in Shreveport. They did Sammy's first show with the band was in Shreveport, the opening of the 5150 tour.
Oh, that's cool.
And was at the free concert in West End in Dallas when they came back. So I saw, Ed up close and personal. So once having, stood within feet of Van Halen and watched him be Eddie Van Halen, man, it was hard to kind of, go beyond for me. I mean, that just was, I felt the same way going home and putting on a Jimi Hendrix record, and that set the bar. It was like, okay, nobody's ever going to sound like this,
Right.
And seeing Van Halen so many times up close, it was like, and then so many people of that era and after that were, shredding and doing that. But Ed's thing was so organic, so original, so soulful in his own way.
Soulful and with just immaculate tone and feel.
It was just his, it was his thing. It was just that
one thing that Eddie Van Halen has on most other people too is the writing, man.
Oh man, the riffs,
all that shit is Eddie,
and it was so grooving. It was, I used to sit and listen to Van Halen with Buddy Miles. He loved Van Halen. He loved Unchained.
I can believe that.
And he was the one when we'd sit and listen to Van Halen. He started, and I'd listen to it all my childhood and all through the '80s, and saw him in concert so many times. And then he was the one that started pointing out in the riffs. We would go through the records and he'd go, listen to how funky that is. Listen to that groove. And I went, wow. I would hear how really groove-oriented and funky Van Halen was, how grooving they were.
It felt good, man. That was that's the underlying thing that I think any band that hits great success is one thing that you can be like, I don't like this kind of a song. I don't like this kind of guitar playing. I don't like these sounds, whatever. But if you're just listening to it, even if you don't like it, you catch yourself.
Right. Grooving.
It feels good.
Yes.
That's what moves the masses.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
Exactly.
I think that's the connecting factors. Like you look at like modern pop music. I was downstairs cooking before you guys got here, and my usual 600-something song playlist that I'm always got on.
Right.
And Bodak Yellow by Cardi B came on.
Right.
And I can't understand any words that she says hardly.
Right.
But whoever programmed that beat,
it's dance music.
I just over and over, I'm like, I'm cutting onions or something, and like the sub hits, I'm like, hey,
yeah.
And then I'm back to food prep. It's like the way it feels. It's just like that. What's the word? Elicits all of the emotion,
right?
And the response, like, it doesn't matter what she's saying.
Exactly.
It really doesn't.
So
not to me. She's not saying anything profound. Since listened to the words, I know what she's saying.
Right.
But I'm saying, in the first couple of listens to that song, like, I have a hard time understanding a lot of song lyrics, and that's not just me. There's whole YouTube pages dedicated to misheard song lyrics.
Right. Right.
and they're hilarious.
Right. And you're right. I mean, there's something to be said about the groove and people understanding and feeling the music, the tribal element, the primitive element of the groove and of the hypnotic repetition of a groove and what that does to somebody. And and I mean, the more further along programming gets and the advancement in programming, you're right. It doesn't matter. You get, a Cardi B up there that, you got a stripper with, and essentially, no disrespect. I'm just saying that's how it's kind of marketed in that way.
Sure.
I mean, she can do it and she does it. And
she was a stripper.
And it's working for her. So I'm just saying, it's like when
you were not even wrong.
When you add that element with that music underneath it in that sensibility where she's actually not just being a stripper, she's actually being a vocalist and a rapper or whatever she is doing with some whatever message she's saying.
There was a Netflix show called Rhythm and Flow or something like that, and it was like The Voice for hip hop, and she was one of the judges, and she has a better head on her shoulders about the art than comes across.
I saw some of that,
and her character that
Snoop was on there. I think Snoop was a judge on a few of those. They had Snoop.
The one that I was watching, it was Chance the Rapper, Cardi B, and T.I. were the judges.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I got to check that out.
It was cool.
I think you told me about that.
It was really, really cool. I can't believe there was only one season.
Tell me what that's called again.
I think it's called Rhythm and Flow.
Rhythm and Flow.
It's the only Netflix. It's essentially The Voice for
hip-hop.
For MCs. And, again, Cardi B, T.I., Tip, and Chance the Rapper were the three judges.
They had some special guests because I think Fat Joe was like on the East Coast and they had Snoop Dogg on the West.
That may be true.
Like sat in like special guests.
It's been several years since I watched it.
It was good. It was really good.
It was really good. And my whole point in saying that was that she knew what she was talking about. She understands the art form.
Absolutely.
And that's probably why it feels good.
She knows how to sell it.
Exactly.
Yeah, she knows how to sell it.
You are listening to the Gear and Beer Podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by Bobby Jam's Kitchen. Want to take your home cooking to the next level? Need new recipe ideas or meal inspiration? Like, follow, and subscribe to Bobby Jam's Kitchen on YouTube and Instagram at Bobby Jam's Kitchen. Cook your food and eat it.
Man, Lance, you were telling me that you're working on a new album with Joey Sykes. Tell us a little bit more about that, man.
Yeah. We've been we started working on this album in the height of the lockdown of the pandemic, when everything shut down. It pushed me to get a home rig going.
Same.
Yeah, and so I put the whole home rig together and
tell us your signal path. Let us know. This is Gear and Beer, bro.
Right. So
spare no details.
So I'm using an SSL interface, which is from the old SSL console,
right?
And it's really cool. It's like the old SSL. It's got the fourth.
I'll put a link to that interface.
Yeah, definitely, notes. And it's really cool because I grew up doing my first two records at the Dallas Sound Lab, and those are the first. This is the console.
I don't think I ever went there. Where is that? Or where was it? Is it gone?
I think it's gone. It was flooded. Everything's kind of been moved over to Maxi Media there. Uh-huh. So everything is kind of went over that way. It was in Las Colinas at like Royal and 635 out there. far when you're going out 635 all the way west, when you go past like 35 and all that, all that next kind of Las Colinas,
Loop
that,
12,
right,
and, 114 and all that shit.
Yeah, right before all that, you get out. Yeah, you get out to the studios, and there were big movie sound stages and everything out there.
Yeah, Eric Clapton did a record out there, and he did a record in a DVD. Me and Mr. Johnson.
That's right. He sure did.
And Bromhall Jr. and I forget who else was on that record, but they did that shit in Las Colinas. I had the DVD.
Yeah, yeah.
And I looked at it, and I was like, Las Colinas.
Yeah.
Where?
Studios. Yeah. That studio was great, and it's the SSL, man. I grew up on that console, so it was really cool to have the SSL interface come out, because it was like it's got the big master knob, and it looks like a little baby SSL.
Man, I wish I knew you had that. I would have asked you to bring it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. So I've been using that. I'm using the PreSonus Studio One. Jim Odom's a good friend of ours. They're a Louisiana company.
Oh, really?
PreSonus is down they are in outside Baton Rouge.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
either.
PreSonus is Louisiana. Yeah, they're all based in. Jim Odom is a guitar player. Played with the owner of PreSonus was he's currently in Louisiana LaRue, but he also played with Tab Benoit and he's kind of a fixture in the Louisiana music scene down there.
That's cool.
So yeah, they're a Louisiana based company. So we kind of Jim's a good friend of ours, so we want to support his product and use PreSonus. So studio, I've just got the basic Studio One setup, really for me to fly in vocals and guitar.
Is PreSonus Cakewalk formerly? Is that PreSonus? Or is that Sonar?
No, I don't think so.
You're right.
Sonar was
Sonar, yeah.
Cakewalk? Okay.
Cakewalk, yeah. No, PreSonus is its own thing.
Okay, I think my buddy Andrew, podcast number 16 guest, might use Studio One too. I feel like somebody else I talked to use that. I'm sorry, I digress.
Yeah, you're right. Sonar Cakewalk.
So okay,
Sonar Cakewalk.
So you got the SSL console, and you're miking with what?
I've got a Neumann TLM 150, and and it's just kind
of a pencil mic.
No, it's a condenser.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a condenser. It's TLM 150. And I'm just kind of using it as a multi-purpose, condenser for vocals, for room, with the guitars. And, a lot of it is, I'm cutting solos, because a lot of the rhythm tracks are being cut in LA by Joey Sykes. That's what we're doing in town this week. We're recutting guitars through real amps. He used a lot of ideas with the Kemper.
Okay.
So he laid ideas with the Kemper. So I think you're going
to go back and execute them on your copy.
We're going to go.
That's cool.
We're going to go back and recut them with amps in the room.
It's weird to make records like that and I've also been working on one, not with the idea like I'm making this record. It's like I've got all these songs. I know a bunch of dudes who don't have anything to do and can record at a high quality. So I got several drummers, and I got Wes Stevenson all over it, and I've been trying to put that together too. But the whole process of being creative with people that are sending you files, it's like a Christmas morning every time you get a new file, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to hear what Wes did, or or whatever.
Exactly.
And then you hear it, and instantly you're like, oh, I need to change this about my part, and it's just like, it's like somebody else coming in and being like, well, what if we did this here? Except for they're just doing whatever they feel, and then you can react to it, but it's like a super slowed down version of jamming
in slow-mo.
Jamming together,
Exactly.
But I think it's cool. I think it provides interesting inspiration and takes the song places that were you guys in the same room at the same time it would not necessarily go.
Right. Absolutely, I think so. We were going to try to do some of that this week. As a matter of fact, we're just scheduling wasn't working out. But I do want to get some of the tracks with everybody in the room, and have some sort of jam track, especially for some more blues based, kind of just straight ahead in the room jamming live off the floor. That has a whole nother feel to it too.
It totally does, especially if you do it live, like real live, like JB.
Exactly.
No click.
Right.
Man, so who if you're going on the road, your name is on the marquee.
Right.
Who are you taking on the road?
Well, right now I've been using. I've got a guy that's playing bass with me. He's up in Gallatin. This kid Ryan Brewington, and he is like he's a powerhouse bass player. He's like eats, breathes, and sleeps like Jack Bruce, Felix Pappalardi from Mountain, Geddy Lee, Geezer Butler, John Paul Jones. These are the basis of where his wheelhouse is.
70s cat.
70s power trio, and that's really what it turns into live. It just turns into that whole vibe. And
you don't ever take more than just a trio?
At times, yeah. And when the budget allows, we definitely I try to expand to another guitar player or keys, or if I can, a full 5-piece. If I can have another guitar player and a keyboard player, it's great, but just budget wise,
sure.
To keep expenses,
people are making some money.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to make sense,
Totally.
I want the sound, but it's also got to make sense for us. It's got to be feasible. But no, I love having big expanded. It makes it so much easier for me as a front man, and as
you can stop playing and sing, and then play when you want.
Exactly.
It's just another layer and texture and grow, and it's another. Each person you add is another level of dynamic that you can achieve.
Right.
Are you playing in town at all?
We haven't been recently. We were doing like we had like a kind of a bi-weekly residency for Harley Davidson down in Franklin.
Oh, okay.
So we were out there. We were playing outside, doing the thing down there for Harley, but. We're refocusing.
Summertime gig kind of thing.
Summertime gig, and the weather kind of got weird. So now we're definitely launching some shows around after the first of the year.
Cool, man. I want to come see you.
New material.
Yeah, new material, new thing.
Definitely let us know. We'll post
Yeah.
about it on Instagram
Absolutely.
and show up if we can.
Yeah. And we're using a couple different drummers too. We got Justin Ward playing with us. He's a good drummer around town.
I know that name.
Plays with Lee Greenwood mainly, but
That's why. Do you know Jeff Zona?
I don't think I know Jeff.
He's the guitar player for Lee Greenwood.
Yeah.
He lives up here in Hendersonville. He is a bad motherfucker.
I've seen him play.
He is a badass
He
guitar
is.
player.
He really is. Yeah, I've seen the footage of them all playing together. Justin showed me. It's just incredible.
He's got some sort of 60s deluxe. Sounds great.
Right. So now we're just doing the trio. So it's power trio
Cool,
stuff.
man.
So and that's kind of the wheelhouse of town.
On the record, it's going to be like
On the record, it's
you're going to give some.
I've got keys.
Second and third guitar.
Oh
parts
yeah,
and
there's lots of guitars.
You're going to build it out. I mean, sometimes it's cool to just do the trio thing if that's the vibe that you're going for.
Right, and that's I think we've got enough songs. We've got enough songs on there where we have really good, well written songs, and I think now it's lending itself to do some more jamming. So I definitely want to take the trio in and do some playing.
That's
live
cool.
off the floor stuff. So yeah, that's where we're at. But live right now, it's just we're going out, we're playing as a trio, and it's just it's a jam band. It's just a blues based, hard rocking trio. Epic jams, Cream-esque type.
I just had a thought. You know what? I wish more people would do what PJ Morton did. And you familiar with PJ Morton?
not.
Talking about the Gumbo record?
Yeah, he's a Louisiana guy.
Okay.
He's a keyboard player, soul singer.
Right.
He most notably played keys for Maroon 5 for 10 years or something.
I did not know he played for Maroon.
Wow.
That's his gig.
I'm
Yeah.
going to check this cat out.
That's how he became somebody.
Is he from
played-
New Orleans?
I just know him
I
from
think
the
he's
Gumbo
from New
record.
Orleans.
Okay, yeah.
So he's
He's
got this record
killing
called Gumbo,
Right.
That he recorded.
Vaguely remember that,
Did he
for some
record that at What's the Face's studio where Snarky recorded? Matt.
He may have. I don't know. My
Anyway.
buddy from Chicago, Matt Jones, shout out Matt Jones, did strings on that album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Those are great
really,
strings.
Really
a
killing.
lot of
player
strings
and
in a couple of those
Dude,
tunes.
the strings arrangements are amazing.
So anyway, he did this record called Gumbo,
Right.
which is a studio record, and then he did Gumbo Live, which was the same record but
Live.
15 people live in the studio, and it was different, and they did it like they would do it live. He's talking. I don't even think there's a studio audience. I'm not sure. And the other weird thing about the Gumbo Live is that there was no drummer.
Wow. That's interesting.
Also, yeah, just no bass. The fact that he he did left hand for the whole for the record as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll link to that, but PJ Morton's a bad MF, dude.
I'm gonna check him out.
He is a bad.
I don't know,
There's a tune called
know that.
"Sticking to Your Guns" that has like this halftime hook that the first time you hear it, it's one of those songs that makes you verbally elicit or hey,
we'll jam the record and eat Yule logs after this.
Okay, hell yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Totally but so and also when they did the live thing, there's video.
Wow.
That accompanies it. I think it's cool to achieve and execute a vision for a record in the studio that is not something that you can represent on a stage. Right. So then you choose and you figure out how to take the studio version to the stage, to a live scenario without tracks.
Right.
Everybody likes to use tracks, whatever. You like it, cool. It's not my thing.
Right.
I understand that you can add textures with loops and with percussion and with background vocals, and that makes a difference.
But the realer, the better.
In big sheds. But I don't think it's necessary to execute an excellent live show to have that stuff.
Right.
I digress. I think that it's cool to strip some of that away and do a raw, visceral representation of the same art.
Right.
That there may be a whole section where you're like, this doesn't feel right live. Let's change it to feel like this.
Right.
And you're like, oh, hell yeah. If we had recorded it this way,
Absolutely.
It wouldn't have been the same on the record, but live, this is the only way.
Right.
And
right.
I just like, I guess you just have to go see people live, which is something that everyone should do.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's cool to hear, to like have in this day and age when anybody that's putting records out that you're into, for the most part, is going to be playing live shows, and most live shows of bands that have, a little bit of gumption are going to be they're going to have an X32 or an M32.
Right.
Carry a couple of mics with you.
Right.
Give an SD card to the engineer.
Right.
Get a multi-track recording of every show.
Right.
Put something together and release a tour highlights.
Yeah, we're about to start doing that with Sean.
Really?
Every show.
I think it's dope, man. I think that
it's a great idea.
I wonder why more people don't do that.
Yeah.
It does take a little bit of doing. You have to have a little bit of gear. You at least have to have an M32 or an X32, which almost everyone does these days because
almost every venue that you even play, if they're just
the M32 and the X32 streamline everything to such a level that it's worth it to have that piece of gear alone,
right?
Just because you can bring anybody in to run that. Essentially, any sound professional is going to know how to work an M32 or an X32.
Yeah,
right.
And they do all the things like put it in SD
Oh, it's
card,
great, man. We run a band
run
in
live
the box.
plugs, whatever.
Right, right.
We run a band in the box on the road that has X32 rack. Ears are set the same way every time. If we want to grab, capture card from what we're sending to the house, we can multi-track every show, and it just lives in the rack.
That's awesome.
Well, and that's even if it's not something that you use to release. It's
we're
great.
not going to release it.
It's great to reflect on that stuff. But what I am saying is it would be so easy if you're tracking every show. Maybe you catch one that's fire, or you take a fire tune from a bunch of different shows and you assemble a
new song.
Or whatever, or you even just take like this. Here's a live EP.
Right.
Here's the condensed hits from this record. How we do them live,
right?
Kind of thing, and
right.
What one gets a big crowd reaction, and you've got that energy, on the mics or whatever. But it would require you to carry more than just probably like a couple of 57s. You don't, unless you are self-sufficient in production already, which. That's a little higher of a level than I'm talking about being able to do something like that. Right. Because everybody's got something in the box.
Right.
And anyone interested in putting stuff out there can and should. and it's easy to do it at a high level.
It is.
You just have to spend a little time, and it's worth your time. If you think your art is worth getting out to people, you can get it out. Marketing is something different, but like capturing your art is easy to do, and everyone should do it.
Right. I agree.
There needs to be more shit out there. So I'm glad that you're doing a record, and I want all the guests of this podcast to put records out, and everybody needs to. If you can film stuff, that's a lot harder to do. But like, you could get live tracks, and you can release little. I'm just like.
Maybe we'll do
a
gear and beer compilation album one day.
We definitely will, that'd be
pretty sick. Actually,
it would be.
This is the first that I will have told you or anyone on recording about it. But I'm looking into doing a guitar or like a round table podcast at Jimmy Wallace's guitar shop in Garland.
Ooh.
And then going across the square in downtown Garland and doing a show at the Plaza Theater. No.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that's pretty.
I won't be able to put it together. I'm looking at maybe like February or March.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah, man.
So that's something to keep in mind.
That sounds great.
I'm going to holler at Mike Tuck, Mark Letary, and Noel Johnston, and Wes Stevenson from Texas.
That'd be great.
And any Nashville people that could end up being there. I mean, it will be in Garland, Texas.
Yeah, Gideon will likely be in town.
Not in February.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I'm not talking about Christmas.
I was still thinking Christmas.
Yeah, stop it. That's not when it's happening.
Gideon will.
That's a great idea, though.
So
all great ideas.
Now that I'm way off track, your record, how many tunes are you thinking you're going to release?
Man, we're probably going to put out at least a bare minimum of 10, to 12, and
did you consider breaking it down to EPs like so many people do these days?
We have, and I have enough ready to go pretty much almost for an EP right now. We're definitely putting
I still like records, but I'm old school.
Right, and so are we, and I think that's kind of the other, we're deciding to stick to the script, and stick to the old school way of doing it, and
make art how you want it.
We are definitely going to put out a single, which is different for me. But nowadays you just put out as a download, and there it is. It's not like printing up a actual single.
You're not putting a 45 out there.
I'm not putting a 45 out there. But it's a different situation. So we're definitely going to have that out here the next month and a half, 2 months or so. So that's coming first, and then we're gonna try to go for the full length and or the EP.
Who's gonna? Do you have somebody in mind that's gonna do your mixing and mastering?
We've got a couple of guys that we're working with out in California. Joey's got a couple of guys.
He's got guys in his camp.
He's got guys out there in LA and that have worked with some friends of ours that did some pretty cool guitar records. And I can't think of Zach's last name now, but he did like
Galifianakis.
Wow!
Wild.
I wasn't even prepared for that.
That's how my brain works. Welcome to my brain.
That's awesome.
Welcome to my brain on drugs.
That's a guy.
my gear is on beer right now.
That's fucking awesome. Oh my god, yeah, man, right on. So, but yeah, anyway, we're looking forward to it. So it's gonna be cool. It's we're working on it. Matter of fact, first thing in the morning, we're back in the studio and we're tracking guitars and we're burning tubes. So we're redoing a bunch of guitars this week, some vocal fixes and just putting it together and seeing what happens.
Are you only playing this R9 on it? By the way, we haven't even picked that R9 up yet, but you have an R9 here with you.
Yeah, we got the.
You don't have to pick it up.
We're rolling aux and Kemper, so.
Yeah, this is the old Creaker, the R9. Yeah, this is on a majority of the album. This is my main guitar, and it's a great story behind this guitar, man. I mean this guitar.
Let's see.
Yeah, you got sound if you want it.
Yeah.
That's just into a dimed Marshall. Yeah. Eddie Van Halen style. Everything dimed, bass totally turned down.
I mean, it's a tried and true situation there. Les Paul, Marshall. I mean, it's meat and potatoes, and
worked for a lot of people for a long time.
And it's like, man, I'm back into the mode of this and the volume knob and the amp cranked up, and then just using this, and just going old school with it, and it's just a very old school setup. It's funny, this guitar. A story about this guitar is Gibson Custom has this made to measure program where you can they were unveiling it at South by Southwest this year at 2016, I guess, South by Southwest. This was several years ago. And so basically what it is, they had all their high-end buyers coming in at this showroom. They were doing this white tablecloth dinner for all these buyers. And so what it is you get a Les Paul, and I want a Firebird neck on it. I want a flying V neck on an SG. I want whatever. All this weird amalgamations of, whatever colors and all this, whatever you can think of, they will do it. They call it made to measure. I want a baritone R9 or whatever, something, whatever, off the wall, whatever you can think of.
An 8-string flying V.
Something like whatever that could be, exactly.
That sounds awesome.
And anyway, Leroy Parnell was supposed to play, and he canceled, and so they called me, and I had a tour of the West Coast, and I had 2 nights at the Baked Potato, and one of them had just sold out, and we were playing up the coast there, and I got a call from Gibson Custom, and they said, man, we have this event for the custom shop at the showroom in Austin, and we need you to play. Leroy Parnell just bailed on us, and we need you. And I said, man, I've got a tour of the West Coast. I'm playing the Baked Potato and got all these different, all this different stuff. And he said, that we need to, we really need to do this. So, man, I called, moved dates around. Justin, he was really pissed off that I was, moving it. But I was like, man, it's for Gibson Custom and South by Southwest. And so anyway, man, long story short, we get about a week out, move this entire West Coast tour to do this one show in Austin for Gibson Custom. And a week and a half before the show, I get a call from the then ER at Gibson, and he said, hey, Lance, he goes, hey, buddy, good news, bad news. The show is canceled, but we're still going to pay you. So, yeah, man, okay, man, thanks, man. All right, man, bye, click. I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck just happened? So I've canceled and moved this whole tour, and now they canceled the South by Southwest thing. So I'm sitting at home. I start kind of stewing, and dude, I go and I write this big email, and I send it to most of those guys now, some of them have come back, but a majority of them are all gone now. I was the CEO of Gibson, a bunch of these different people, and the guys are the heads of the custom shop. And I wrote this email. I was like, guys, I'm not pissed off, but I'm kind of pissed off. This was we did this, so just keep me in mind for something cool. And then I hit send, and then it was one of those moments where you hit send on an email and you go, oh, fuck. What? Oh my! And so I just started pacing around my house, and then I'm just pacing, going, I can't. And I'm just like, and then my phone rings, and of course it's the guy, and I answer the phone, and he's like, hey, Lance, Mark at Gibson, we got your email. And I'm like, hey man, look, let me. And he's like, nope, let me talk. He's like, what do you want? And I was like, well, what do you mean what I want? And he was like, what do you want? He's like, we're paying you anyway for the gig, but what can we do to make this right for you, man? And I said, well, man, I want, and I just sat there, and he's like, do you want us to build you something? Do you want like a cut? What do you want? And I said, dude, I want like the best 59 Les Paul you guys can build me. And so they had specs of a couple different really cool Les Pauls,
Barton Creek burst, baby.
So I went down to Austin and got it. They built it. It's got specs from Gibbons' guitar, Jimmy Page's guitar, I think one of the either Felder or Joe Walsh's guitar. They kind of made an amalgamation in that made to measure thing and put a bunch of specs of different Les Pauls together. And
it looks great.
And I went down and we stayed. My ex-wife and I stayed at the Barton Creek Resort near Bee Caves in South Austin. And so I stayed up all night playing.
This is 2016.
This is in 2016. We went down to South, and they built it in a couple weeks. Put this thing together. And so I went down. They shipped it straight to the Austin showroom. I drove down and got it. And so the next morning, it was sitting in a chair, and the sunlight was hitting it. And I took a picture of it, and I sent it to Billy Gibbons. I took a picture, and I sent it to Billy, and I said, "Here's the guitar. I just came down and got it." And he was like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "I'm at the Barton Creek Resort." And he was like, "That's the Barton Creek Burst." He's like, "Don't let that guitar out of your sight." So, and I think the first gig, I actually left it. I like stashed it in a closet in San Antonio and like got to the gig and like left the guitar in the closet at the hotel. I had to go back.
Oh, shit.
I hid it in the closet and then got all the way to the venue and went, "Oh my God."
Sinking feeling.
Barton Creek Burst. There you go. There it is.
Gear and beer.
I think it's time for questions, Lance.
Here we go.
Did I ask 4 questions?
I think so.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't be responsible for myself. If I can find them.
Fan on this computer is raging.
That's crazy and awesome. Love it. Great news. Excellent. Excellent stuff. Great show. Awesome show. Great job. So my first question is always Metallica or Megadeth?
Metallica.
Okay, that's care to elaborate, or just fuck Dave Mustaine? Or?
No, I'm a big. I played with Marty Friedman when I was 17. He came in the Greenville Bar and Grill. I jammed with Marty Friedman.
GBG, hell
As a
yeah!
matter of
dude.
fact,
Love
Marty
that place.
Friedman came in when Charville Jackson was still in Fort Worth. He came to get some guitars, and he came and sat in, and we played the blues. And Marty will tell you to this day, we got down, and it was a memorable experience. He's
a bad MF.
We reconnected at NAMM in the PRS booth in 2014, and he had Zach Myers from Shinedown and all the guys around him, and and he grabbed me and he was like, "One night," and he brought it up 1995 or 4 or whenever it was. And
Marty's heyday, no doubt.
So Marty and I, we jammed together at GBG. It was a pretty monumental situation.
That's dope,
and
man.
He got on stage and was hanging with the blues. It was pretty incredible.
Good player.
But I just had more exposure to Metallica. I saw them more live. And it just, as far as, and there's no disrespect towards Megadeth.
I didn't think so.
That band was incredible, musicianship wise, riff wise, incredible. I mean, Countdown to Extinction, Peace Sells. I mean, all those records were heavy, very thought out, very, I'm a big fan.
I'm glad that you have to pick and I don't. I don't want to have to pick.
Yeah. But I just saw Metallica live. I saw Metallica live the first time January of 1989. So I was at the And Justice for All tour, and it was life-changing. It was like, wow. I got to see Metallica, and they've never topped that performance. I saw them, and I mean, no disrespect.
Where was it?
This was at the Hearst Coliseum in Shreveport, Louisiana. Okay. So it was January, into January. And at that time, it was the most I'd ever paid for a concert ticket. I had to go to my dad's office and ask him for $20 to buy a Metallica ticket. And it was like, who? Dad was like, what the fuck is Metallica? Like, what is that?
That ain't a thing.
It
What
was
you talking about?
$20 to go see it. And that was like a huge deal.
How many pots have you smoked?
Oh, my God. It was crazy. But anyway, and so, and I saw him a lot of times live after that, and it was a big event, and I'm in that binge and purge. You can see, there we are in the DVD and at Tarrant County Convention Center.
Yeah.
All in that DVD. So
binge and purge, live shit, bro.
I just connected with, a lot of that just because I was there.
I love that shit too.
I was just there. I was just there.
You don't have to. You don't have to be apologetic about it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I was there, and it was great. I was a part of the Metallica experience.
I think I might know the answer to this, but live or session?
Live.
I think that's most people's answer.
Yeah.
From like It depends on how you're looking at it, I guess, because for career sustainability, I think session makes more sense. But for personal enjoyment, I think live is the obvious choice.
Right. Live, definitely.
So we'll continue. I got a few more either-ors for you.
Okay.
Jazz or metal?
Oh, man. Oh, dude, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because I go down both paths equally.
Same.
Oh my gosh, that's oof. This is a tough one, man. Oh God, I'm kind of having an anxiety attack right now. I don't even know. Oh my God, how do I do this? I don't even know. I would have to say,
go with your gut, man. Just go with your gut.
Jazz. I would have to say
I think
jazz.
it's the right choice.
I would have to say jazz. I mean, I definitely would have to say jazz. I would have to say jazz.
I think that's the right answer.
Yeah.
I think the only person that's answered metal was definitely the jazziest guitar player that's been on this show, Lindsay.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
That's right.
Wow.
I don't think maybe Tony said metal. We didn't do questions
you weren't
at that
doing
time.
Yeah. I was going
fair.
to actually say I would love to do a recap question and answer with him.
Well, hopefully one day I'll get all those 1 through 10 episode assholes back on here, and we can ask them the questions.
There you go.
Not after that comment,
Right?
Like they're gonna listen to anything on there.
Oh my God.
So, volume pedal or volume knob?
Knob.
I agree. That's what what I'm most comfortable with.
Knob for sure.
I can't do like La Villa Strangiato solo swells with a volume knob, he can, but I can. Whoop, that was a good catch.
Yeah,
I can with a pedal. So I need a pedal for that. Otherwise, as far as general application of volume, I prefer the volume knob.
Absolutely.
Myself. Do you put treble bleed or any special caps?
Everything's just old school, just like old school technology. No treble bleed.
I got treble bleeds on.
Okay, that's cool. Right on.
I have a thing, and I like it.
Yeah.
Tacos or pizza?
Oh, tacos.
I think that's the right answer too.
Tacos.
I agree.
Tacos for
Pizza's
sure.
great, but tacos.
Yeah, I mean, I love pizza, but tacos, man.
Tacos offers more variety, if nothing else.
It does, and more selection, and as opposed to
and best delivery method.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with that.
Absolutely,
we're all in agreement there.
Yeah.
Single coil or humbucker?
Oh, humbucker. I mean, now I'm just like, or depends on what I'm doing.
Nope, you just gut reaction. That's what I want.
Also, though, I would love. Did you play a single coil last time?
He played Ford's 335.
That's right. So I've only ever heard you on a humbucker, but I
played Strats.
I kind of want to hear you play a Strat.
Yeah, I did my whole early career. That's all I played for. 2 decades with Strats.
When I played with you at the press parties, you played a Strat.
Yeah, I played Strats.
Were you playing like
I don't even know what I played.
Like Rosewood Strat?
I played Rosewood boards, maple boards, all kind of,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I was a Strat guy for many, many years. Yeah, yeah.
My next question is Rosewood or maple?
Rosewood. Yeah.
Maple is cool, but maple is very specific.
It is
what it does, and Rosewood is the sound of most recordings,
right?
With the exception of things where you're trying to get that maple board sound,
right?
Jazz or precision?
Jazz.
Is that what you play?
4
or 5?
Bass. 4. Absolutely 4. Yeah.
Are you one of those guys that gets pissed off about 5 strings?
I mean.
You and Boo Massey. Can you explain to me why?
Yes.
Can you explain to me why?
I don't know, man. I'm an old school. I like the old school friend. Like I've got the jazz with the flat wounds on it, so I'm like that. The old school James Jamerson kind of style of playing bass and all the old school guys. So it's just my thing. I don't, I like a 5-string. I think the low B is cool on some stuff. I just tend to know that, sometimes when I start seeing more than 4, my mind psychologically goes into lead bass playing. Where it's like, oh, we're going to have a really thin, high-pitched, plinky kind of a sound and not the, thuddy kind of low end. Like I said, I play a jazz bass with flat wounds, so, that's kind of my wheelhouse.
And that's a cool sound.
And I love a P bass, and the early P bass with the Tele neck P bass.
Oh,
with
yeah,
the
Sting.
The big plank body with the flat wounds is also my... I love those two, which again, maple. Now we're talking about a maple bass. That is where. So
you got the maple board. A
maple board on the bass. Yeah, that's where I would really like to see the maple, that kind of thud with that thing. But that's just me. I think I do better with a 5-string than I do a 6-string. That's when I really start. When I see
6-string is a higher string, so I can understand somebody's splitting hairs about a 6th string,
right?
But the 5th string is just more bass notes on a bass,
right?
So people getting mad about that is dumb, in my opinion.
I'm okay with the 5. I'm okay with. That's more where I have the issue is the 6.
It's one thing if you don't like playing it.
Right.
It's another thing to be mad if someone else is playing it.
Yeah.
And that's a very real thing.
Yeah, I've had guys in my band that play 5-string Fender basses, and it's great. It's really
Wes
great.
Stevenson plays 5-string Fender bass.
He sure does.
He plays the shit out of it.
You find me somebody to play any other amount of strings better, and we can talk then.
Yeah. When I played with Wes, I think he was playing Music Man basses, 5 strings.
Oh, wow.
I think at that time he was playing
Stingrays,
killing on them. But anyway, yeah. No, I love those. When guys know how to do it with a 5, it's incredible.
I got 2 questions left for you.
Okay.
Off the top of your head, no deliberation, top 3 Desert Island records.
Jimi Hendrix Band of Gypsies, Creamed Israeli Gears, and the third one would have to be probably, it would probably have to be Led Zeppelin Physical Graffiti.
I was going to say, I bet it's Led Zeppelin.
That was hard because I was going through the blues records, and I went, I just got to go with Led Zeppelin.
No, I think those are 3 great choices. And
yeah.
I think the beauty of that question is just like the top of the head reaction is like, for some people, that's going to be different 3 records depending on the day you talk to them.
Right.
But I feel like that you would give that same answer almost every time.
I love that Band of Gypsies was the first answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Such a great fucking record.
Absolutely.
My last question for Lance Lopez of Dallas, Texas, now in Nashville, is something that I have stupidly named the King's Court. And that question is, you have to pick one. Albert, Freddie, BB, or King's X.
Albert King. Albert King.
That's a great answer.
Albert King. I said, I got to play with BB. I knew BB. I met, BB was, like family to us. But Albert just spoke to me in a way. I knew who Albert King was before I knew Stevie Ray Vaughan was. So when I heard Stevie Ray Vaughan, I went, oh, man. So, and just the way that Albert looked with the V, it was just different. It was upside down.
Tuned way down and like 9s or something.
Yeah.
So he can bend those notes like 3 full steps.
Right. And it's his thing. It's just that one thing, but it's his thing. And it's like you said, when you hear somebody pick up the guitar, immediately, and just the intensity of Albert King. It was just the intensity of those, of the left-handed guys that play upside down, that just with the gravity working for them, where they're able to pull and pull the strings and do these huge bends.
And guys like Eric Gales have made careers out of that shit since then.
All 3 of his brothers played like that. All 3 Gales brothers all played left-handed upside down. All 3 of them. It was crazy. Crazy.
I did not know that.
Yeah, man. Little Jimmy King, his brother who sadly passed away in the early 2000s, but his brother Eugene and him all played, and their grandfather played that way.
Wow.
Their grandfather was a gospel preacher in Memphis, and he played the same way. So it was really crazy how all their family played guitar like that. It's insane.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
But you have that gravity working for you. Doyle Bramhall Jr.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about it. He plays strung upside down?
Plays left-handed upside down like that.
I knew he's left-handed. I don't think I knew that. I love the way he plays guitar. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
What's the what's his name? There's a dude, pop country guy who Chase Bryant. You know Chase Bryant?
Of course, yeah.
He plays like that.
Really?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
And, dude, and he's like he's not gonna like shred.
But he can play lead.
It's super soulful.
That's
it's got
awesome.
good tone. It's phrasing, like all the important shit.
Yeah.
He can do that shit. He's a Corpus Christi boy. He actually, in the pandemic, moved back to Corpus Christi.
Wow.
He comes back and forth to write, but he's living in Corpus Christi, built a studio, and he's just like Texas vibing out and tracking and writing songs. And I've been doing Jimmy's new pet guitar show set, which is the Masters of the Telecaster.
Oh, wow.
The last 2 years. The first year it was Red and Greg Koch and me and Chris Rodriguez and Danny Sanchez.
Nice.
And there's obviously no guitar show 2020. And then this year it was Chris, Josh Smith,
nice,
Forrest Lee,
love all these guys.
Chase Bryant,
These are all my buddies.
Arnie Neumann, and me.
Wow. Now, I don't know Arnie and I don't know Chase, but I know all you guys, and that's badass.
Well, Chase had some charting pop country tunes about 6 years ago.
No, I mean I know who he is. I don't know him.
Oh, I see.
I don't know him personally.
Well, he's we've had a couple of conversations. He's not like my buddy.
Right.
But, he's a great guitar player. And
that's awesome.
Another one of them. One of these boys.
The left-handed upside down.
Well, Lance,
Robert,
thanks for doing this, man.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
I'll be sure to
absolutely,
when it comes out, if someone will help me remember, I will come back and include links to your record in the show notes.
Thank you.
And whatever websites and social links will be in the show notes. Anything I said will be in the show notes will be there. So again, thanks to Lance Lopez of Dallas, Texas, Lyndon McCarty, Twistin' and Tweaking. And be sure to subscribe and follow, and please do that, and comment and like, and tell your friend if you think that this podcast is kind of funny, or that I look stupid, or that the guests are badass, or all of the above. Tell your buddy, tell your mom, tell your babysitter, tell somebody. Love you. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Gear and Beer Podcast. Make sure and subscribe and turn on notifications for our channels, and if you haven't already, follow our Instagram and YouTube channels. We truly appreciate your support and ask that you please tell anyone you know whom you think might be interested in our podcast about gear and beer to help us grow and continue bringing in great guests from around the industry and beyond. Thanks again. And until the next episode.